to assume.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
I'll call the meeting to order. I think we have all our voting members here, and we'll get started. Rich Eckert is assisting us this evening. Megan had a previous engagement, so at this time, Rich, could you please do the roll call?
Shelley Mueller.
Here.
Kevin Cook.
Here.
Bob Archer.
Here.
Lori Wolgast.
Here.
Karen Hiller. Sandra Clear.
Here.
Sylvia Ortiz. Anthony Emerson.
Here.
Michelle De La Isla.
Here.
Brendan Jensen. Elaine Schwartz. Jeffrey Cohen.
Here.
Richard Harmon.
Great, thank you, Rich. And we have our action item number 3, approval of funding commitment, Project Spencer, and the Go Topeka staff.
Good evening. I'm going to try to switch. There we go. So tonight's project is a project that we've been referring to as Project Spencer, and I'm excited to announce that the company has said that at my presentation this evening, they would be happy if we could release their name. This is Reeser's Fine Foods. I think as many of you know, over the last 25 years, Reeser has invested in our community. They've built 2 manufacturing facilities and expanded both of those multiple times. They've also built a truck shop as well as a state-of-the-art distribution center. They are one of our largest employers. They have over 1,000 people here in Topeka. And I just want to let you know that with this project, this is kind of in the initial stages, so they still need to go through rezoning, planning, all of that process as well. But what we're looking at is a project that will be in East Topeka. It will be 180 new jobs. The investment is $86.5 million in capital investment, and this will be a 2-phase project. The first phase will be constructing a brand new 250 to 300,000 square foot facility. This equates to $67 million in capital investment, and that capital investment, that number includes both the cost of the facility as well as machinery and equipment. It will create 40 new jobs. And the average annual wage will be $25,000. Now that $25,000 does not include the benefits, and these jobs do provide benefits as well as opportunities for overtime. And they anticipate this facility will be complete in January of 2018. That's when they will take people from their current facility and move them over. So you can see that this is a big capital investment, fair amount of jobs, but the jobs really come into phase 2. Before I move on to phase 2, just to give you an overview, the company provided this photo. This is a picture of a plant that they built in 2015 out in Oregon. They say that the plant that they're looking to build here will basically mirror this. So you can see it isn't kind of your typical industrial. It does have architectural elements, landscaping, etc. Now with phase 2, we've got about $20 million in capital investment, but a good number of jobs, 140 new jobs. Again, this average wage will be about $24,000 that will have benefits, and as I said before, opportunities for overtime. And those are starting wages, so we anticipate, if we were to go back and look at this project 2, 3, 4 years after it's operational, those numbers would be a little bit higher as people kind of move up. And they anticipate that this would be complete in fall of 2019. In terms of the incentives that we're proposing, these are in accordance with the guidelines that Go Topeka adopted in December of 2015. It would be up to a maximum of $665,000, and that is divided between 2 categories. One is job creation, which would equate to $336, and then the capital investment, which equates to $329,000. And as a reminder, this is a performance-based incentive, and so if they don't create 180 jobs, let's say they create 170, they would only receive incentives on those 170, and it is required that they have benefits for those jobs. Additionally, with the capital investment, that's paid at the time that the facility is complete. They've got their certificate of occupancy from the appropriate authorities, and we've seen the appraisal on that property, so we know that the capital investment does equate to what they said it would. Additionally, we'll see receipts for the equipment that they bought, so we can verify those numbers, and so again, the incentive is based on actual numbers. In terms of the economic impact, very large. We had a company went over this in terms of the investment and the jobs, and they see a one-time economic impact. So think about the construction jobs, buying all that material, of $115 million. Then they said as long as they keep those 180 new jobs, we would see an annual economic impact of $92 million. So very, very substantial. So that is my presentation, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have of me.
Thank you. Are there questions from the JEDO board? Yes. Sorry, who had their hand up first? I didn't see. Councilmember Claire.
I might have missed this. Are they going to close the other building?
No, they are not. So this will be a new facility, and then looking at doing some reinvestment in the other facility. So we're getting, it's almost like we're getting a whole new company here in a sense, the same company, but building a brand new facility and still keeping their other one and investing in that.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you. The 92 million recurring annual economic impact, that is with the additional jobs?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So as
So
long
that'd
as,
be in addition to what they already provided into the community?
that's correct.
Okay.
So very big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to point out. Yes. Deputy Mayor De La Isla.
The mayor took my question. But I will say thank you to Research. We're so excited.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just to recap, these are the starting wages, but we have employees that start in at Research and then they move up and they stay with Research for quite a long time. So while we're looking at just the starting wages, we have to look at the full economic impact of these 180 jobs that we're going to have employees that are moving up as they continue with the Research family.
That's correct.
Okay.
And also with those jobs, they provided us a breakdown because of the incentive is based on the wages. So they gave us a breakdown saying, X number of people will start at this, X number of people will start at this. And so, that varies. But when we look at a weighted average, it was in that $25,000 range. So you're right, there will be people starting in these facilities that start higher than that.
Good.
Anyone else? I know we have representatives from Resource here. Are they wanting to speak at this time or as part of the presentation? No? Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure.
Just thank you.
We do have 4 people who have signed up for public comment on this item, but do we want to, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Cook and second by Mayor Wolgast, I think. I'm sorry, it's close. Let's hear from the public. Mr. Ledbetter, you are first on the list.
Governing body, JEDO, thank you. As a citizen, I support this. I think it's a good idea. I really like the idea that it's creating some east side jobs, so thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Second, we have Mark Gelbreth. Don't know if I pronounced that right.
I might apply my time. Thank you very much.
Okay. Scott Griffith.
I just want to say thank you for considering this recommendation on behalf of the Board of Go Topeka. Research, as you know, has been a longtime corporate citizen, employing, I think, closer to 1,300 people today. And this is a huge investment that they're making in our community. And it's on a part of our community on the east side that's going to be pretty impactful, I think, long term. I think these jobs are, even though the wage is maybe lower than some jobs that we'd like to have, they are the gateway for future opportunities and advancements. And they'll be trained, and it'll create opportunities for them within research and possibly even elsewhere if they don't stay at research long term. And finally, I mean, you heard the economic impact. That's huge. And through the construction activity, a lot of employers or a lot of companies locally will be part of that process. So thank you for your consideration, and your approval of same is appreciated. Thank you.
Well said, Scott. Thank you. Matt Pavarnik.
Thank you, governing body, for your consideration. Let me just read a few organizations' names. Ronald McDonald House, CASA, TARC, Sheltered Living, Boy Scouts, youth ball teams across the community, American Heart Association, Sertoma, Capra Foundation, Let's Help, Stormont Vale Foundation, Night Out Against Crime, multiple high schools, multiple grade schools, Fiesta Mexicana. And what do you think that might be? Those are organizations that Research has contributed in cash in the last 12 months. They're very philanthropic, and that doesn't even include food. I mean, they do food all over this community. I had somebody tell me recently that they would rather do 5 expansions of existing businesses than 10 new businesses any day of the week. Expansions, they're already ingrained in our community. They're very philanthropic with their time. They're very philanthropic with their dollars. I would also like to thank Mark Reeser and Jeff Russell and Reesers. I will tell you that there are a lot of communities in this country who would have given their left arm to have an $86.5 million capital investment in their community and have a new facility like we're talking here. So I want to thank them for their confidence in Topeka. I want to thank them for what they already do. Just very recently, they increased their starting wages. It was a significant increase that they just did just very recently. So I have all kinds of talking points here, but I think that most of them have already been covered. I just want to just encourage you to approve this and thank you for your consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. That is all who have signed up for public comment. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We will see the contract for this agreement then on our December meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, that is the goal. So tonight was approving the funding commitment, and then our goal is to get that finalized through the attorneys and have that on the December JEDO meeting.
Great, thank you. Again, thank you to Research for being willing and trusting to work with Go Topeka and the JEDO board, and congratulations and thank you again. The next item is public comment, and we do have 4 people who have signed up. Mr. Ledbetter is first.
Thank you, everybody. The meeting's going so quick, I'll have to formulate my thoughts quickly. First off, I attended a military council meeting today. I was invited as a veteran, and I appreciate the outreach of the Chamber, Go Topeka, on reaching out to our veterans and our military. I've talked about this a number of times at the JEDO meetings about we've got to do a better job of reaching out to our veterans. We've got about 16,000 veterans in this community, and a lot of them are still in the workforce or looking for work. And you know, I've heard some pretty bad stories about the way some of the veterans have been treated in this community, but I think there's a lot of good stories too. And I think that this outreach is very good, and I appreciate that Matt and others decided this was a good thing to do, and I think it needs to continue. The next thing I want to talk about is we've had reports that have been done, studies. We recently had one just done. I've got to sit in on some of those committee meetings, and then we had the Gardner report last year, and I participated in those inputs and studies. And the recurring theme is that the city doesn't show well, and the city aesthetically does not show well, and it keeps coming back to a lack of code enforcement. Now, a number of years ago, the county handled that. I don't recall the complaints back then that have been generated in past years about code enforcement, but about a year ago, I started really paying a lot more attention to it, moved back in the city, saw firsthand the result of slumlords moving into very nice neighborhoods and just trashing them, trashing the housing, trashing the property values of very nice neighborhoods, in addition to what had already been done to Highcrest West, which shows long-term systemic just lack of attention by code enforcement to make a handful of landlords behave and fix their houses up and do what they're supposed to do. So the reason I'm bringing this up to JEDO is this is an economic development problem. I've talked to economic development people. They all say the same thing. This is a big problem if it's not dealt with, and Topeka has not done a good job of dealing with it. So I'm bringing it up because we're dealing with economic development. Now, the past manager was trying to get a handle on it, and I took him on a tour, and I think, I'm not going to speak for him, but I think he was a little taken aback by some of what he saw. And what you've got to do is you've got to get out in these neighborhoods. And if you have a district, and I know all of you do, you and the mayor, you've got to get into these neighborhoods and see what's going on. You can't just assume that staff or whoever is paying attention to what's going on. You've got to get into the neighborhoods and see them for yourselves. And see what's going on. Because that's the only way you're going to realize what these studies say and have said, the city doesn't show well. And we're the capital city, for crying out loud. Let's take some pride. Let's take the bull by the horns. Let's deal with this problem and fix it. It doesn't take a long time, but it does take resolve. And that's what's key. You've got to have people that are resolved and passionate to fix the problem. If you don't have that, you don't have much of an army. So you've got to have that drive. So this is what I'm saying tonight. We have to deal with this problem. And it's going to be a problem that's worse if we don't. But it can be fixed. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Griffith?
I
No?
respectfully pass.
Thank you. And Matt Barnett?
Did you guys see this, M&Ms? Okay, so I'm reading from the Capitol Journal, but I just have to mention it. M&M's has a new flavor candy, and it will only be manufactured in Topeka. The Mars Topeka factory and M&M's announced Wednesday caramel-flavored M&M's will hit store shelves in May 2017. The new chocolate candy, well, I won't tell you all about that. You'll figure all that out. But here's the part I love. M&M's Caramel, over the past year, has invested $100 million in Topeka, hiring over 70 associates to support the national launch, the release said. Congratulations to JEDO. I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. Carol Marple?
Thank you very much. I want to say to Matt, the only sad thing is that we won't see those until May of 2017, because my family's excited. I wanted to say that was a great vote for Resource. Resource is just absolutely the greatest asset to our community. I've been able to work with them on a few things, and they're an excellent company to work with. They are so involved in our community. Matt made the list. I was sitting back there trying to write. The only one I came up with that he didn't mention was the Heart Walk. And this is just such a win-win for our community. I think there are just no words how excited I am about that. On another note, though, I would like to ask that, is there any kind of an update on the proposed incentive to the Goodyear plant? I mean, we have 1,300 jobs plus involved there, and there's a lot of rumors floating around and stuff like that, and I just wondered if, we were going to get any kind of update on the incentive package for them. Thank you very much. Again, it was a great vote.
Thank you. Those are all the people that I have signed up for public comment. And at this time, I do not believe we are going to receive any update on the Goodyear incentive. So we do have another meeting scheduled for December 14th. That is our quarterly meeting. And we will be looking at Section 1 of the Gardner Report, as well as our budget for next year. Mayor and Councilman Cohen and I met this morning to prepare for that meeting. So I also want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that JEDO will have a media bus tour on November 9th from 4 to 8, and we will be meeting at the downtown Ramada parking lot. And so just a reminder that that is coming up as well. Anything else? All right. Thank you. We are adjourned.